Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book list of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. Hello, readers. Welcome back to the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I'm Leslie, your romance book lover, here to share even more recommendations for you. It's always so much fun for me, honestly, to check out which new romance books that are releasing each and every month so that I know exactly what I want to add to my must-read list. In this episode, I am sharing with you my top 10 most anticipated new romance book releases coming September 2024 that you do not want to miss. And this month, the books that I'm highlighting, they're all really fitting into different romance book tropes. I know I usually gravitate to a lot of my favorite tropes, but get ready for September if you love forced proximity romance books, enemies to lovers, reverse age gap, neighbors to lovers. Oh my gosh, seriously, this month has a little bit of everything. So if you want to just explore something new in the romance genre, or if you have your favorites, then there's definitely something that you're going to want to read on this list. This is also a month where we start to finally see some of my most anticipated new Christmas romance books that are releasing this year. You will see a couple of those, but if you want even more, definitely swing back to the podcast episode that I did on the Christmas 2024 romance books that I cannot wait to read this year. There are a ton, and I'm really looking forward to them. And as always, for even more books to add to your reading list, always check out my upcoming releases page on shereadsromancebooks.com. I keep that up to date pretty regularly, always adding new ones that cross my path all the way into 2025. So definitely check that out. And I'm sorry, Isabel, I'm just giving you more to add to your TBR list, but I know you're going to love all of these books that I'm sharing here today. And I'd be remiss if you get kind of overwhelmed like me sometimes, like worrying that you're going to forget, oh my gosh, I really want to read that book. And I love that recommendation that Leslie shared in her podcast, and you don't want to forget it. So my recommendation to you, hop on over to Amazon or click the link in the show notes to grab my romance book reading journal. Perfect place to record all of these recommendations I'm sharing in today's episode. Write down the title, write down the author, when they're going to release, all of that good stuff so you don't miss them. And then it's all just in one place, right in that journal. So you can always go to that to be like, oh, what did I want to read this month again? That's right. So easy peasy. Click over, get the romance book reading journal. I love when readers have told me that it has everything that they've wanted, and even things they didn't know that they wanted in a romance book reading journal. So I hope that you can pick up a copy. So the first book that you should add to the TBR list in your romance book reading journal is a friends to lovers rock star romance called Star Maker by Jessa Nevins. Follow total opposites Kit McKenna, an ambitious artist manager, and Sully Fox, an irresistible lead singer with a star on the rise, drawn together like magnets as they navigate the glittering and gritty 1980s music scene. Can their love withstand the spotlight? For a page-turning, slow-burn romance, be sure to grab Star Maker by Jessa Nevins today, available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited, so add that one to your TBR list. Okay. So let's dive in again to September 2024's most anticipated new romance book, starting with No One Does It Like You by Katie Shepherd. This is a second chance romance that releases on September 3rd, and here is what it's about. When's the best time to tell your ex that you want them back? Probably not in the middle of a Category 3 hurricane, but when Broadway actor Tom, I'm going to mess up his last name, when Tom, we'll say, is about to dive into the floodwaters to rescue his co-lead, he calls the ex-wife he hasn't seen in 10 years to swear he still loves her and ask for a chance to make things right. 2 months later, Rose Kelly is tired of seeing pictures of her ex-husband Tom rescuing Hollywood darling Boyd Killiger. Not that she's jealous, of course not. She's far too busy taking care of her elderly aunt and worrying about the storm damage to the family B&B on Martha's Vineyard to miss the love of her life. But after belatedly hearing Tom's voicemail, Rosie asks him to follow through on his promises for once by helping her fix the inn. Thinking this is the perfect way to win her back, Tom agrees. When they get there, things are a little less than ideal. Rosie expected the inn to be in better shape. She expected it to have more beds, and she expected more help from her actual family and not from Tom and the rest of his Broadway cast. But Rosie begins to wonder if maybe the life she expected isn't the one she really wants. If she and Tom can repair the inn together, can they possibly repair the damage to the relationship they both thought was long gone? This is super cute. And maybe I've got hurricanes on the brain because we just sort of had a storm come through of the latest hurricane. So maybe that's what got this book on my radar screen. But I'm already loving this second chance romance because it's with two people who were previously married. And that's not necessarily super common in the second chance romance trope. It's usually just after some kind of breakup. But I'm excited to see how the forced proximity nature of their inn remodeling pushes them to revisit the past and to see if they can now have a new future. Fans of the only one bed trope will totally eat this one up too. This is my first book by Katie Shepherd, so I'm pretty excited to see what I think of her writing, and I always love to check out new authors every month, so I think this is going to be one of them. The next book on my TBR list is called Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This is a single dad romance, also releasing on September 3rd. And here is what her new book is about. A rugged mountain town seemed like the perfect escape from a life in shambles. But on day one, I ran full tilt into the world's hottest single dad, and now all my plans are ruined. As a chart-topping country singer with a recent streak of bad press, it's hard to find any peace. But I find it in Rose Hill, with a little boy and a little girl who steal my heart just as thoroughly as their dad. Weston Belmont. The man is a shameless flirt. He oozes confidence and masculinity in a way that's downright distracting. And in bed, he's addictive. Everything with him is wild and impulsive, and I'm desperate to regain some control. But no one has supported me like West does, and no one has ever made me feel as loved as he does either. So while my brain says settling down with a small-town horse trainer is impossible, my heart says I'm right where I belong. Still, my life as a celebrity haunts me. It has the power to pull us apart. I can see in his eyes that he wants me to stay, and I want that too. But I know better than anyone that we don't always get what we want. Okay, so this romance, it totally had me at the description as shameless flirt. I really want to see what Weston has in him when it comes to charming the country singer who shows up in his small mountain town. Sometimes I find the heroes in single dad romances all sort of start to sound the same, right? Maybe they have this sort of melancholy to them, understandable, but I'm really hoping that Elsie gives us a different kind of book boyfriend to love in this one, and it sounds like Weston is definitely that. So add this Wild Eyes to your TBR list for September. It is book 2 in her new series, Rose Hill, but can easily be read as a standalone. So be sure to check that one out. Okay, next book for September. Write this one down. Right Kiss, Wrong Man by Stacey Kennedy. It is an opposites attract romance releasing on September 10th. And here is what it's about. Ooh, it's set in Boston, where I used to live. So exciting. Boston is abuzz with the arrival of Aphrodite, an AI program that revolutionizes the way people connect. It claims to have an unbeatable matching algorithm, but there's a secret that lingers within this flashy new app. A flaw that could shatter the illusion of true love. The program matches based on sexual attraction, not on emotional connection. When Aphrodite pairs Quinn with Theo, a devastatingly handsome businessman, she finds herself tangled in a web of irresistible attraction. Their first date ends in a scorching encounter, leaving Quinn breathless and craving more. But when dawn breaks, she discovers their differences run deeper than their sizzling chemistry. Theo, a determined developer with ambitious dreams, has worked day and night to transform a park into a modern high-rise. Unyielding in his pursuit of success, he sees no value in preserving an old, run-down park. But Quinn, the stunning woman who melted under his touch, turns out to be the passionate environmentalist, fighting him fervently to protect the park from destruction. With their opposing beliefs clashing at every turn, sparks fly as Quinn and Theo engage in fiery debates. Yet beneath the surface, an intense attraction leads them back into each other's arms, allowing Quinn to live out her hottest fantasies with a man determined to fulfill them. But soon, Quinn and Theo discover that their desire is as relentless as the forces that pull them apart. Caught in a whirlwind of emotions, Theo and Quinn will have to decide if their undeniable connection is worth risking their careers and their hearts. So, I don't know what it is, but I have this thing for romance books that have to do with dating apps. I can't explain why, honestly, but I just love this microtrope. So I want to see what Kennedy brings to it when you throw in, artificial intelligence to the mix, which I guess that's always sort of a part of dating apps. But I'm super excited to see, again, what she does with it. I also love that it pits two opposites together, yet who have this amazing chemistry in the bedroom. Not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to seeing how they live out Quinn's fantasies and hope that it's got some really good steam to it. So while opposites may attract, I'm always fascinated whether opposites can actually make it work despite their differences. So we will see how this dynamic plays out in this new romance. All right, up next, I have Embracing the Change by Kristen Ashley. This is her new Friends to Lovers romance releasing on September 10th. It is about gorgeous New York socialite Nora Ellington has been waiting a very long time for her happily ever after. So long she's given up on it and has decided, even though she's the +1 friend without benefits to a man she's head over heels in love with, a happy ever after will forever be out of reach. Handsome billionaire Jamie Oakley thought he'd had 2 happily ever afters in his life. However, neither lasted long and both ended in tragedy. He's not about to try it again or put his children through the trauma Jamie has learned from experience undoubtedly will come their way. And he's made this decision even if the woman who's become his constant companion is a woman he loves straight to his soul and wants with everything that is him. But then one night, Jamie loses control and kisses Nora. He can't go there. She can't go on without it. They'll never be the same, or will they? So I am already totally feeling the tension between Nora and Jamie just by reading this book summary. It has got to be so hard to take that risk and become, more with a friend or someone who's become such a constant in your life when you'd rather not sort of rock the boat, especially when love has ended in tragedy in the past. So I cannot blame Jamie, but really looking forward to this one. I can't wait to get to that part where he finally loses that control. I adore sinking into Kristen Ashley's books. It's been a while since I have. I'm actually really hoping I'm going to love it because have yet to decide on our November 2024 selection for the She Reads Romance Book Club. So I'm wondering maybe if this one will be it because I would love to talk with Kristen about her books. So I don't know. Stay tuned. We shall see. All right. Next up for September is My Rules by T.J. Swan. This is a Neighbors to Lovers romance releasing September 17th. And here's what it's about. It started with a list. Tired of meeting nightmares, I decided to study the do's and don'ts of dating. And who better to help me with my master list than the king of red flags himself, Blake Grayson, neighbor, friend, mischief maker, and player extraordinaire. He knows how to spot a playboy from a mile away. He is the prime example, after all. So when he offers to help me avoid Mr. Wrong by sharing what to look for, I have no choice but to take him up on it. We start a game. He will become my wingman and I'll become his. He coaches me through my singledom, while I go on his journey of play. We double date, eat ice cream at midnight, and laugh. And boy, do we laugh. But while I watch every woman he meets fall madly in love with him, I stumble across a major problem. I know exactly why they fall, because I can feel it too. His charm is intoxicating, and damn it, the man is addictive as drugs. But it's not happening. I won't let it. I'm not that gullible young girl anymore. Blake will never settle down, and I know in my heart he's not the man for me. I have one go at the second chance of happiness, and I am not going to mess it up. This time I play by my rules, even if he won't. So My Rules is book 2 in TJ Swan's Kingston Lane series about hotties who really all live around the same cul-de-sac in the neighborhood. I first met Blake after reading My Temptation, the first book in the series, and I'm kind of interested in how he changes his ways and maybe finally falls for one woman. This, I think, though, can be read as a standalone, however, so if you adore books with playboys who finally find the one, then add this to your TBR list. All right, next up is a book called Twisted Night by Kay Bromberg. It is an enemies to lovers sort of office romance, releasing at the end of the month, September 24th, and here's what it's about. Holden. They thought they'd managed to get rid of me once and for all. They thought I'd just forget about what they did to my brother, but I'm going to make sure that they never forget. If only I can stop thinking about her. Rowan. No one sees me. Behind my brother, I'm a ghost, managing the family business that he claims to run, but I'm tired of being second fiddle. I'm tired of pretending. I'm going to take what's mine. The only problem? Well, he just came back into town. So Kay Bromberg has become a go-to author for me because I just love her writing style and the stories she creates. I love that this new release is an enemies to lovers story in the workplace where an unknown but gorgeous face sweeps into town to take over a family company. So I'm ready to see some sparks fly, see what she does with these characters. So check out Twisted Night with me that releases on September 24th. Also releasing September 24th, super excited to dive into my advanced reader copy of All I Want Is You by Fallon Ballard. This is a Christmas or holiday romance book release, so here's what it's about. All Jessica has ever wanted is her own happily ever after. But until that happens, she spends her days as a small-time romance writer penning satisfying happily ever afters to soothe the heartache left by her ex-boyfriend Nick, also a romance writer and now her biggest rival, who has found success writing love stories without happy endings. It's what he's good at, after all. So when their professional obligations bring them to a remote inn a few days before Christmas, they're a little more than peeved, especially when they get trapped sharing a room in a snowstorm. But what's more fitting for two romantic writers in a slump? Realizing the friction between them might be the only cure for their writer's block. They decide to turn their frustration into fiction, and the pages start flying. But will Jess's heart soar too? Nick is the last guy on earth she should love, but what if he really is all she wants for Christmas? Okay, so I am totally chomping at the bit to dive into this new Christmas romance book because it just sounds perfect. Like having so many things I absolutely love. I love how Ballard is weaving in sort of like rivals to lovers trope with a second chance romance between romance writers, or at least one romance writer who recognizes that romance requires a happy ending. But I love that, one room, forced proximity, the snowstorm. It's just got all the things that I cannot wait to see how it all comes together. I'm seriously hoping that this book lands on my best romance books of 2024 list, so fingers crossed that comes true. A second new Christmas romance book dropping in September, cannot wait to read, is A Jingle Bell Mingle by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. Here is what this one is about. Part-time adult film actress, one-time adult film director, / makeup artist Sunny Palmer has accidentally sold her very first screenplay to the Hope Channel. That was 6 months ago. Fast forward to a looming deadline, and uninspired Sunny has returned to the source of her inspiration in Christmas Notch, Vermont, to immerse herself in the local Christmas miracle on which her fever dream of a movie pitch was based. Isaac Kelly, former boy band heartthrob and the saddest boy in the music biz, is the latest owner of the town's historic mansion. After his years of heartbreak following his young wife's death, Isaac's record label is done waiting for new music. What better place to attempt his first holiday album than a snow-covered mansion where he can become a hermit in peace? But after their best friend's wedding leads to them waking up together in a freezing motel room with questionable wiring and a broken shower, Isaac takes a chance and asks Sunny to stay with him at his home. Surely the place is big enough that he'll hardly see her or her unhinged cat. But when the two discover they're both creatively blocked, they make a handshake deal. Isaac will help Sunny hunt down the truth behind the local lore, and Sunny will find Isaac a new muse. And with these two opposites under one roof, there's no way this Jingle Bell Mingle could go off script, right? So, of course, I'm super excited for this latest installment in the Christmas Notch series because a Jingle Bell Mingle is going to be our October 24 book selection for the She Reads Romance Books Book Club. I love that Sunny and Isaac are both in a bit of a predicament, right, when it comes to their creativity. But it seems like a bit of forced proximity action can hopefully cure their writer's block and potentially help them find love. I've already fallen for Isaac just from the tidbits we've gotten in the previous books, so I'm ready to fully meet him. But this one can absolutely be read as a standalone if you're looking for something spicy this holiday season. I'm so looking forward to talking with authors Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone about this book in our author Q&A chat for book club in October. So put this one on your TBR list, grab it when it releases, and then sign up for book club if you're not already a member so you can discuss this with us and then chat with Julie and Sierra. It's going to be awesome. All right, another book for September to add to your TBR list is Beg for Me by J.T. Geisinger. It releases on September 26th, and this is for all you reverse age gap lovers out there. And here is what it's about. Sophia, Carter McCord was exactly the kind of trouble I didn't need. He was too cocky, too much of a playboy, too handsome, too charming, and way too young. We held the same top executive spot at rival corporations, but the similarities ended there. He glided through life on his family's money. I fought tooth and nail for every dime I ever earned. He was an infamous bachelor who partied on yachts. I was a single mom who clipped coupons. But when the person I thought could never understand me turns out to be the one who sees me better than anyone else ever did, I have a decision to make. Is a May to December romance only meant to be a fling, or can it be forever? Carter. I don't care that she's older. I don't care that my friends think I'm crazy. I don't care that my family might cut me off. The only thing I care about is making Sophia Bianca mine, and I will, even if she makes me beg for it. So, okay, just the fact that JT wrote it, it's on my TBR list. That's where I feel with JT and her writing. But I am totally anxious to see what she does with the reverse age gap trope because, or I should say, especially since Carter seems to be like totally gaga over Sophia. Plus, if you've been a reader of JT's books for a while, she's planning like this really huge ultimate tie-in with all of her books and characters. So it's kind of a must read to kind of get ready for when she does finally do that with all of her books. But again, it can be read as a standalone, so don't worry if, reverse age gap is your catnip, or if you just want something super spicy, which I'm sure it will, add Beg for Me, I should say. I am begging for it now onto your TBR list. Okay, last one to add to your list is Sunday Morning by Jewel E. Ann. This is a small town new adult romance releasing September 26th. And honestly, I've added this to my list because I didn't want to forget about it, even though the book summary isn't fully out yet. The only thing we know about this book is that it's Footloose meets A Star is Born, a sort of forbidden new adult romance set in a small town. So, one, I added it because I'm overdue for a Julie Ann read, and it's just been way, way too long. So excited to read her work again. And two, it kind of had me at forbidden romance, a la A Star is Born, because I loved the movie remake with Lady Gaga, so I'm really anxious to see sort of Anne's spin on that sort of story. So looking forward to the full summary dropping and hopefully reading this next month in September. So there you have it. Those are my most anticipated new romance books releasing in September. But I always like to leave you with an extra added book suggestion. And so I am going to take out my handy dandy A Year of Reading Romance card deck. I'm going to shuffle it out. This is my card deck of 52 cards that each has a reading prompt and a romance sort of trope or category on each card to help you pick out what you should read next. So I'm going to grab a card. And okay, this card says your reading challenge is to read a book that has a cover model on the cover, which honestly is getting kind of hard these days, right? With so many romance book covers becoming, the graphic covers and, Romantices all has their sort of go-to cover design. But I'm going to pull out an oldie but goodie because I don't think she has changed her covers I would say you could pick any book in P. D'Angelico's Hard to Love series. She has some definite haughty cover models on her book covers. Bulldozer is one of them. That is sort of a forced proximity romance where between a hot football player who's sort of nursing an injury, totally making him a complete grump, who happens to move into this house, which the heroine thought was empty, her brother's place. But she and her son move in and they have to sort of cohabitate with this grump. It's just a lovely story. I love all of her books. I really wish that she kept writing and hopefully she'll release one soon. But check out Bulldozer for a book that has a cover model on it. If you flip the card, the romance trope on this card says read a runaway bride romance. That is definitely a fun romance trope. So let me think. Runaway bride. I would suggest Dirty by Kylie Scott, because not only is it about a runaway bride, but honestly, I remember reading that book just laughing my ass off every time I would turn a page. And it was just really funny. I loved the snark between the heroine and the connection she had with the hero, who totally found her in her wedding dress in his bathtub when she was escaping the wedding, because she was a total runaway bride, escaping over the fence into this guy's house. It was hilarious. Definitely recommend Dirty by Kylie Scott for this romance trope on the card. So if you have an interest in grabbing A Year of Reading Romance card deck, it's easy to grab on shereadsromancebooks.com. I will share a link in the show notes, so you just have to click and grab it. Perfect as a gift for yourself. Great for an upcoming holiday gift or stocking stuffer for the romance book lover in your life. And that wraps it up for me. Thank you so much for checking in again to the podcast. I hope I gave you a lot of great recommendations that you're looking forward to. And until you hear me next time on the next episode, thanks so much for tuning in and happy reading, because life is better with a love story. That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.